He looked Japanese, he is Japanese, and you expect him to be and act Japanese, but he acted like a brother. Alright, y'all, I got a special one for y'all today. So I'm going to be talking about More Than Miyagi, the Pat Morita story. And Mr. Miyagi, if you grew up in the 80s, everybody knows who Mr. Miyagi is. Even if you didn't grow up in the 80s, he's such a household name. The Karate Kid is such a household name. Everybody knows Mr. Miyagi. He was like another Pop to me growing up. I had Sylvester Stallone. I had Mickey, who was his trainer. I had, not Sly, but Arnold. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Miyagi was like another father because he just had so much knowledge and wisdom, and he was just the perfect mentor. He's everything you need in a mentor and a trainer. He's not the hothead like Kreese is going to fuck you up. He takes a more gentle approach, but at the same time firm, where you don't play with him. This documentary, y'all, I was so looking forward to and I was excited to watch. And though this documentary is very good, but it broke my heart. It did, y'all. This documentary fucked me up a little bit because you got to see Pat Morita, the man, and not Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi is a role he played, but he played it so good that people typecast him. He was known as nothing more than Mr. Miyagi. After he played in that movie, which, by the way, he got nominated for an Oscar, he didn't win, which is bullshit. After that, he could not get a role without playing some kind of caricature of that character. He had to play some form of Miyagi in some way, shape, or form, and he could never escape that character. But it's a blessing and a curse because, as an actor, as a performer, I guess you do want to be known for that one role that people will always remember. You can be an actor and play in 1,000 movies and nobody knows who you are. But to play a character that iconic, similar to Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill will be forever Luke Skywalker. But now to a younger generation, he's known as Joker from the Batman animated series, but he's always known as Luke Skywalker. So Pat Morita will always be Mr. Miyagi. But the man, oh my God, he lived a tragic life, y'all. Just when you think you have it bad, this dude, for the first 9 years of his life, he could not walk. He had, oh God, I forgot the name of the condition that he had, but it had something to do with his spine where he couldn't walk. And fortunately, they did an experimental surgery where they fused his spine together and he was able to walk. But for 9 years, he was in a body cast. He was in some kind of concentration camp, kind of like how they have the Mexican people now in those, well, I don't know if they call them concentration camps, but you know what I'm talking about. He was in one of those as a kid. And he finally got out and got in the show business. Well, take it back. He had a lot of odd jobs and shit. Just a typical struggle of the everyday man. And he figured out that he was funny and he got in the show business. And that's what he did. And from there, he became a stand-up comic and a very successful one. And Red Fox gave him his start. Him and Red Fox were really good friends. And he had a good career as a stand-up. And then he got his break on Sanford and Son. Then he did a lot of TV in the 70s. And then it wasn't until 84 when he did The Karate Kid where he got his big break. And then from there, he just became a fucking star. Oh, yeah, and by the way, yeah, before Karate Kid, he was also known as Arnold on Happy Days. And his stage name was the Hip Nip. So when you look at him, you think, Japanese, he's going to talk with the accent and, hey, all that stuff, all that stereotypical shit. No, Pat Morita talked like a regular dude. He talked like somebody that could be from the hood, all right? Which was funny. And then that was part of his shtick, his gimmick, because he looked Japanese, he is Japanese, and you expect him to be and act Japanese, but he acted like a brother. And that was always a funny thing about it. But the tragedy with Pat Morita was that he was a bad alcoholic. The guy drunk, he literally drunk himself to death. They said he drunk every day of his life since he was 12 years old. By the time he got in the 60s, he pretty much had no liver left. And the disease took over him where even though he knew he was fucking himself up, he couldn't stop. He just had to keep drinking. Very tragic shit, And one part that sticks out is when they had the Happy Days reunion and he was supposed to go, but he was so drunk out of his mind he didn't show up until the next day when he came to the panel, and they didn't have a chair for him. They had a chair for the rest of the cast, so they figured he wasn't going to show up because the day before when he did finally show up, he was so intoxicated he couldn't even function. And typically he's a functioning alcoholic. And I don't know if you know anybody like that could be piss ass drunk and you don't even know it, because they're so immune to the alcohol you wouldn't even know that they're drunk. You know what I mean? And that was Pat Morita. So just think, the whole time he was filming The Karate Kid with all the Miyagi-isms and the wisdom, he was piss-ass drunk. And that's why he played that part so good when he was fucked up. Remember the scene in Karate Kid when he was drunk and he was singing the Japanese blues, you know, "Hi, there you son, hi, da-dink, da-dink, hi, kun, di-tsum, banzai." He was fucked up. And that's the part that actually got him the Oscar nomination. So, y'all, I definitely recommend watching this. If you are a fan of The Karate Kid, if you're a fan of Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita, I really recommend watching this documentary. Just a heads up, though, it is some tragic shit. It'll break your heart because he's such a beloved figure in pop culture. And when you separate the actor from the character that they play, you'd be surprised how different they are from that character. But from people that he knew, like, you know, they had a cast of The Karate Kid on there, William Zabka, Ralph Macchio. They all said he was just the sweetest guy, very nice. They all called him Uncle, you know what I'm saying? So he did have a lot of Miyagi in him, but he had some serious demons, too, that he had to fight, like a lot of us. And it's crazy that the funniest comedians are the ones that are the most fucked up. You look at Richard Pryor, you look at Red Fox, like all those guys, they are very damaged individuals, you know, and it's probably going to come out years later, you know, that Kevin Hart is going to be like, wow, like Kevin Hart had a serious cocaine problem, he had this problem, you know, I guess because you take your pain and you turn it into comedy, and I do that sometimes. I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I've learned to channel my pain and my whatever the fuck I'm going through and turn it into a comedy, you know what I'm saying, whatever it may be, and I laugh at myself. I don't take myself too seriously, but sometimes inside I do hurt. God damn it, it does hurt me. So anyways, y'all, I recommend watching More Than Miyagi, the Pat Morita story. I think you'll really enjoy it. And if you have seen it, comment below, let me know what you think. And if you like and dig this content, hit that like and subscribe, notification bell in the corner. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.